Born in Sri Lanka 67 years ago, the Venerable Piyadassi has attained the most senior rank in the Theravada Buddhist order, that of Great Elder or Mahathera. At the age of 20, he was ordained a monk and received formal education in Buddhist studies at Nalanda College and at the University of Ceylon in Eastern and Western philosophy, psychology, and culture. As a direct disciple of a leading Buddhist master, Vajrayana, he perfected his understanding and experience of the Buddhist disciplines. Venerable Piyadassi's home is in the Vajra Monastery and the Forest Hermitage in Sri Lanka, but he is well known in America. In 1964, he was invited to join the Center for the Study of World Religions at Harvard University. He has traveled widely in the West giving Buddhist teachings and leading meditation retreats. And he has authored many books in English with a Western readership in mind. Venerable Piyadassi's teachings are characterized by directness and clarity, and he upholds the traditional teachings of Buddhist thought and practice.
Sisters and brothers, in our last talk, we discussed the subject of meditation, and we, up to a point, discussed the calming of meditation, about the four postures, how a meditator becomes aware of the positions where he keeps his body, mindfulness of the body, application of mindfulness to his feelings, application of mindfulness to his mind and to the contents of the mind. Now, we ask the question, what is the most important thing for us? And what answer shall we give? Is it going to the moon, antibiotics, gasoline? We need them. But the answer to this question is closer home. The answer to this question, what is the most important thing for us, is ourselves. When we say ourselves, our mind. Don't you think so? Our mind. That's the most important thing for us. Do you know that today people unnecessarily create trouble for themselves? We have noticed people talking to each other. When talking to a person, sometimes they cry loud, with a forced pitch, and end up a conversation with all exhausted. When driving a car, when you come to the traffic lights, not all, some, when they see the green turning to amber, get very agitated and impatient over the red. Don't you think the sensible thing to do is not to be impatient, leave the wheel, take a deep breath, patiently wait for the green? You are a better driver. Also, how much time he is going to save with this rush and speed? I don't think he can save time. Exhaust himself in going to run a train or something. Need not run with rush and speed. Mindfully running. That won't do any harm. Also, we must work. Work won't do any harm. It's good for our health. We must work. Sometimes people are just having time hanging from their arms and they get sick. Get yourself occupied. Work won't do any harm, but tension, excitement gives harm. So we need therefore to do a little meditation daily. Now, we spoke about the breathing meditation. Mindfully breathing in and mindfully breathing out. That is mindfulness with regard to the body. Now you go to the application of mindfulness to feelings. When you speak about feelings, sisters and brothers, there are pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and neutral feelings. That is, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Now these feelings come because we have sense faculties, the 5 sense organs, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. These are the 5 sense faculties or sense organs. Our mind during waking time, waking life, our mind works through these 5 faculties. And there are sense objects or food or sense data for the sense faculties. Visible forms, visible objects for our eyes, then sound, smell, taste and touch. In Buddhism we speak of the 6th factor, mind. Not only the eye, ear, nose, tongue and body, mind also entertains thoughts. Now, to see and become aware of an object, to hear and become aware of the sounds, and so on and so forth, we need consciousness. Without your consciousness, you can't see, you can't hear, you can't smell, you can't taste, you can't touch. Try whether you can do it. You can be listening to a talk, seemingly very attentive, but hearing nothing. You have experienced that. How many a time you have been having a book in your hand, gazing at the book without turning the pages, because your mind is wandering. Now you see, although there is the sense faculty or sense organ and the sense object, there must be the particular consciousness. For instance, when seeing, we must have the visual consciousness. When the eye and the object and that particular visual consciousness comes, there are 3 things. When these 3 come together, there is contact. Otherwise, there is no contact. If there is no consciousness, no contact. The eye may be gazing at an object, no contact. There must be consciousness. Then you become aware of it. Here is an object. Here is a pleasant thing. Here is unpleasant thing. It is a neutral thing. So how you see how your mind, your consciousness works. These 3 things, eye, visible object, eye consciousness or visual consciousness. When these 3 come together, no one can stop it. There comes contact. No sooner there is contact, than there is feeling. No one can stop it. So contact and feeling. As I told you, feelings can be 3-fold. Then what next? You get attached to it or you resent, like the atom. Attraction or repulsion. Attraction or repulsion. Or attachment or resentment. This is what's happening. You see an object, you hear a sound, you smell something, then you taste and you touch. So when you hear, you must have the auditory consciousness. Otherwise you can't hear. Person is talking to you. Sometimes you don't know what the man has said, because your mind is not there, only the sound waves are coming. Now when you turn your consciousness, that talk, then comes auditory consciousness. So the ear, the sound and the particular consciousness, there is contact. Then comes sensation. Same with regard to food, smell, taste and touch. Often we get the touch, we don't know. because there is no tactile consciousness. There is a contact, but no tactile consciousness. When the tactile consciousness comes, there is that contact. Sometimes maybe that pleasant feeling, or maybe unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling. With regard to smell, there comes the olfactory consciousness. And then with regard to the tasting, gustatory consciousness. This is how the Buddha explains how our faculties come in contact with our sense objects and how the particular consciousness functions. Important thing is to be aware of these feelings. You may get attached to it, or you may resent. This is what's going on. So if you are mindful, you try to keep equanimity in meditation. Not to get attached to a thought that comes while in meditation, maybe a pleasant one, maybe an agreeable thought. Yes, it's a thought, and not get attached to it. Yes, it's an ugly thought, it's unpleasant, disagreeable thought. No resentment, it's an ugly thought. Just become aware of it. So, we are mindful of the body, mindful of our feelings. Then comes a third one, application of mindfulness with regard to our mind. What does this mean? To see the nature of the mind. Now, when you get, say, lustful feeling, it is not that thought, but the lustful nature of the mind. When you entertain thought of love, that nature of the mind. Here, mindfulness of the mind means how the mind goes, how it works. Then again, the contents of the mind is very vast. There is the good as well as the ill, bad ones. When you think about the thoughts, thousands and thousands or millions of thoughts coming and going, and we can see some thoughts we like, they are beautiful thoughts, pleasant thoughts, and some are ugly. And also we can get mental pictures of what we have seen, what we have heard, what we have tasted and smelled, and what we have touched. It is very easy to get visual pictures. I can think of my country, my temple, my monastery, have a nice visual picture, mental picture of it. You all can do that. More difficult to have a mental picture of the sounds. If you are a musician, it's a little easier. But you can get music mentally, you can enjoy music. What you have heard with your ear, now you can mentally enjoy the music. However, in the same way, smell, sometimes we get it mentally, we get that smell. It's a beautiful smell, very pleasant. We just enjoy it. Even taste, those who have tasted very good ice cream, you can now mentally taste it and also mentally get that touch. These are very delicate things, but in meditation, little by little, we understand these things. So, we are becoming mindful of all our thoughts or the contents of the mind. Now we must keep in mind, sisters and brothers, all these meditation for calming the mind, that's all. We today speak so much about vipassana, but they forget the samatha. Samatha means calming. Before you go to vipassana or insight meditation, we must have a calm mind, collected mind, concentrated mind. Now these breathing meditation and so on helps us to calm the mind. You see, to calm the mind, to collect the thoughts and to concentrate. Concentrating means to concentrate on one particular object to the exclusion of others. To have that one-pointedness of the mind, unification of the mind. So all these meditations help us to calm and collect our thoughts. So therefore, the calming meditation is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. It helps us to see things as they really are and not as they appear to be. see things in their proper perspective. We need a collected mind. As you know, even to listen, even to read a book, we need concentration, certain amount of attention, concentration. So here too, we must have that calm mind. When the mind is settled and calmed and concentrated and collected, then we can see things as they really are. So we go from samatha, calming meditation, to insight meditation. Here we take our own body, our own breathing. You will see the breathing, there's nothing permanent there. Nothing lasting or stable or fixed. Just flowing, rise and fall, rise and fall. That is the changing nature, the impermanent nature we apply to our whole body and mind. My body, my sensation, my perceptions, my mentations, my consciousness, all these things are impermanent. They are not stable or fixed. Let alone deep meditation, looking at it from purely a scientific standpoint, we know that things are changing. A scientist will tell us that all things are changing, not remaining the same for 2 consecutive moments. When you knock, you can't knock the same place again according to science, because the particles of matter are there, and the particles of matter here, and the environment all vibrating. So the Buddha antedated modern science by 23 centuries when he said all things are changing, anicca, not permanent, in a flux. After the Buddha, it was Heraclitus, the first Western philosopher, the Greek philosopher Heraclitus, who came out with the flux theory about 100 years after the Buddha's passing away. He also spoke about the flux theory which the Buddha taught to the world. The Buddha used the Pali language word santati, flowing, a flux. Now Heraclitus used the Greek word pantare, flowing. And Heraclitus, to illustrate his statement, says, man cannot step twice into the same river. Man cannot step twice into the same river. He's right, because when he goes a second time, that water has gone. Right. But if you understand Buddhist meditation, insight meditation, vipassana, you will go a step further and say, not only man cannot step twice into the same river, same man cannot step twice into the same river. You understand? Did you get it? Man is also like the river. When he goes a second time, his particles of matter that goes to make this body, his thoughts, all are changing, not the same. So one another river going into another river. It is everywhere it's a flux. So from vipassana, insight meditation helps us to see that all things are changing. But especially you apply here to your body and mind. There is nothing stable or fixed. And then, if things are not permanent, if they are changing, if they are not lasting, then things are unsatisfactory. That's the second characteristic of vipassana. 3 characteristics. One is understanding the impermanent nature, especially ourselves, of course, and things pertaining to us. Number 2, if things are not lasting, they are not very satisfactory. See, unsatisfactory nature. Number 3 is to understand that there is no permanent entity or indestructible ego or ego here. Because the Buddha could not locate anything permanent in this conflux of mind and body. The body is a flux, rupa santati. Mind is a flux, nama santati. So it's a conflux, the body and mind flowing together. in this conflux of mind and body, the Buddha could not locate anything permanent, everlasting and stable and fixed like ego or any self. Therefore he said all things are changing. Now psychology helps us to understand things intellectually. Meditation helps us to go beyond the intellect to the actual experiencing of it. So now you see that in Buddhist meditation we have these two aspects, calming meditation and the insight meditation, samatha and vipassana. Also there are other good meditations, but this is a very popular one. When you understand through insight meditation the nature of each and every one, how it functions, this mind and body, then you become more calm and peaceful. You get to the arrogance, anger, hatred, and so on and so forth. Also you understand moral causation. If there is an action, there is a reaction. If you do good, really there is a good result. It is not the work of the Buddha or a God or a Brahma or an external agency. When there is an action, there is a reaction. You switch on, the lights are on. See the action and reaction. Switch off, lights are off. You see? And so you see the action and reaction, cause and effect, seed and fruit, and karma and karma vipaka. Karma means action. In Buddhist philosophy, it is action, karma. Not just any action. Now these gadgets are working. When you take food, food digests. There is reflex action. All these are actions, but they are mechanical. But they are not karma. For what is karma in Buddhism? It is indeed an action, but there must be our mind. Mind should get involved in the action. If the mind does not get involved in the action, then there is no reaction karmically. So the important thing is again there the mind. Here mind means volition or will. Having willed, man acts. Having willed, man speaks. So he is responsible for what he is doing and what he is saying, and he should not, as the Buddha says, and you should not give the burden to someone else, shift the burden to someone else. We must learn to take it for ourselves. We are responsible for the actions we do. So you see that we become aware of all these things. In Buddhism, we find this action and reaction, moral causation. Another, one of the principal teachings is life after death and life before birth. These are all principal teachings of the Buddha. And it is through meditation one can understand how these things function. So it is very important for a person to know how his mind works and how through the mind his speech and work and actions, as body or deed, actions, bodily actions and verbal action and mental action. If you are mindful, we can speak and smile, do everything without doing any harm to anyone else. You see, sisters and brothers, the cultured man is the man who gives least trouble to others. You know that we have been gifted with two beautiful things. The fact that we can speak, also that we can smile. One can say the animals also have a language. They have their language, the squirrels, the birds, they have a language. Only they cannot articulate. We can articulate words. We can communicate speech, such a beautiful and so valuable gift. And of course the other thing is the smile. I don't know whether animals can smile. I don't know whether gods and Brahmins and Brahmas are all smiling. But we can see human beings are smiling. and you know that the smile of the child is very genuine, sincere, no guile in it. And I think a baby smiles when that baby is just 3 or 4 weeks, and that's a world to the mother and father, the parents. So, and you know, sisters and brothers, that sometimes when our mind is not controlled and tamed, we can abuse these things. We can see that people abuse that beautiful thing called smile. They can smile with tinged with jealousy, tinged with anger, and so on. Just a smile is not, the language of the heart. Language that comes from the heart and goes to the heart is so powerful, and there is meaning in it. So if we learn meditation, we can do everything mindfully and more effective way. One last thing. Once a disciple came and asked the Buddha, what do you mean by living according to dharma or righteousness? The Buddha said, there is a disciple who studies the dhamma very well but does not go for meditation. He is not a dharma vihari living according to dharma, but an expert in studying. There's another one who studies very well and also teaches. He teaches the others. He's an expert in that, convinces others, but don't go for meditation. He's not living the dhamma according to dhamma. The third one is reflecting dharma, but does not go for meditation. He's not dhamma vihari, not living according to dharma. And the fourth one is pondering, and he is only pondering, an expert in that, but not dhamma vihari, living according to the dharma. Then there is another one. He learns little dhamma and he practices, go for meditation. He is dhamma vihari, living according to dharma. So you see, the Buddha emphasizes the importance of meditation. Let us do a little meditation. Thank you, sisters and brothers, for your very patient hearing. May your upward path be smooth, sure and steady. May you be well and happy.